Hey, welcome everybody to the Worthy People podcast. I'm so excited for this episode. Today, we've got some special guests here in the house, in the studio. Y'all may have seen a episode that we had out over the summer where we talked about the heat inside of prisons, and we had a couple of guests from an organization that is known as Texas Prisons Alliance. Texas Prisons Alliance, and doing an alliance is exactly what we are here doing today. I have several people from the organization. Our goal is to provide you with some resources and some things that you can use for you, your family, and for those that are getting released. So I'm super excited. Be sure to tap in, get your pen and paper. You're going to hear a lot of information here today, and you're going to want to make sure to write it down. They'll also be sharing their mailing address with you. So remember, get their address, not our address, so you can write them and not me, because they're the ones that are going to be able to help you with this. And so before we get going anymore, I want to introduce our first set of guests on this episode, and we'll have some more ladies and guy jumping on as we are going through this episode. So I want to introduce to you the first three ladies that we have here with Texas Prison Alliance. How are y'all doing today?
Good. Thank you.
How are you doing?
Well, I'm good. I'm glad that y'all are here. Before we jump off into our conversations today, I just want to let everybody watching, you coming here today was a result of just how impactful and powerful that our Zoom meeting was over the summer, and the conversations that we had about the Texas heat and resources. And I know people are watching this all over the United States in prisons and jails nationwide. So be sure to stay tuned. They will be able to address those that are outside of the state of Texas. But I really think it surprised all of us with the response from that last episode. And so I just wanted to have each of y'all introduce yourself, and if you could just share a little bit of what came out of the last time that y'all were on the podcast.
My name is Tatiana Santoyo, and I'm the president and founder of Texas Prisons Alliance. Piggybacking on the last episode, we grew even more than what we expected. We opened up a department that was bigger than us, and we are still trying to figure it out, but we're working on it little by little. We've received over 425 letters. If we haven't responded to you, please bear with us. There's so much that we can do. We've got 2 new vice presidents. One of them here is no longer director. She's a vice president of Operations 2. And the other one's also a vice president of Operations 1. But we're very excited because we have many of us that are from different departments that we currently have in programs that are here to explain a little bit further as to what we do and what we offer.
Oh, awesome. So who are these other ladies here that are sitting next to you?
I have Bethany Fierro. She's vice president of Operations 1. And some of you may know Brandy Adames from the last episode. She was director of family facilitators. She's now vice president of Operations 2. So that's where we're at with them. And I'm very happy to have them as team.
Well, and I know that this is just a few of y'all. Y'all brought a whole bunch of people with y'all today. When I opened up the door, I said, whoa, we got a lot of people here today. And so I know our time's limited for each and every person. So I just wanted to ask, what y'all wanted to share. And I also wanted just to establish with everybody watching is that, Worthy People, we're a faith-based organization, and the Bible tells us that in the body of Christ that there's a head, there's an arm, there's a foot, that everybody has a part in the body. And I told one of the brothers one time, "You're just a pinky toe," and you know what? He didn't get offended because he went and found out that you cannot stand without your pinky toe. So there's nothing insignificant, right? We're all working together, and you ladies and guys and all of y'all that make up Texas Prisons Alliance, y'all are a big part of that, about us coming together, working together. And I just have heard so many testimonies since that last episode of people who have reached out to us, those that have written from the inside and told us about reaching out to them, things that have gotten done. So we just thank God and praise God for everything that He's doing through your organization and this opportunity here on this platform. Who thought that we would ever be able to sit down in front of a camera and inmates would have tablets and be able to watch us right now? And so we're so grateful to the Pando app, God Behind Bars, that is allowing us to do that. So I just want to be able to give y'all the floor and let y'all talk about what y'all would like to be able to share, and resources and news that they can use.
Awesome. Well, like I said, piggybacking on the last episode with the letters, we've had a lot of successful advocating for the incarcerated individuals that don't have anybody on the outside to advocate for. There's a lot of issues that we're still working through in regards to medical chain. There's medical issues, lack of medical treatment, denial of medical treatment that we were able to facilitate. Like I said, it's so much easier to have somebody on the outside advocating for them rather than it is with them. It can take them 1 to 2 weeks to have an I-60, answered from them, when all we have to do is pick up a call, pick up the phone and call, and or even send an email to somebody, and it's just immediate, like within the next 24 hours. So we've had a lot of successful outcome in regards to the advocacy, but we've also had, a few downfalls. And in regards to medical, somebody needing medical assistance due to the heat, and he was heat exhaustion, and he was on the top bunk and nobody would listen to him, and he had some heat restrictions as well in regards to his medication, and we were able to go ahead and facilitate that for them and contact the warden, and also, we contact the head nurse to let them know in regards, because for some reason, they keep them in the nurses for hours and hours at a time, and there's, like, no outcome, or either the doctor doesn't see them or they'll tell them, "Oh, they're fine," and they'll send them on their way. So the power of an email is able to go ahead and facilitate that. So he was able to get his restrictions that he needed. There was somebody else that had a restriction. He works SSI, which is kind of like a custodian type, and is up and down the stairs, and he had a previous injury prior to incarceration, and obviously when we age, it starts becoming a little bit degenerative. So, walking up and down the stairs, I guess he had a bad movement and nobody was listening to him. He did I-60s, he did a sit call, and it was ignored. The doctor said, "Oh, you have nothing." Now, mind you, this is all speculation. This is all speculation according to what he had stated, and he would send him on his way. We were able to contact the warden, and he facilitated him to be seen by the doctor, and he was given the restrictions that he needed in order to continue his SSI position, because he did want to continue to work, but unfortunately, he moved wrong, and he's not a spring chicken anymore. So, but I mean, thank goodness he was able to get the assistance that he
Right.
needed.
I look at this and I think about, Texas Prisons Alliance. So many people that are hearing this for the first time, or family members, and even myself. I'm just curious, and I know people watching, like, how did this come to be? I mean, did y'all take a class in college on criminal justice? Y'all just thought you watched a TV show on A&E, maybe 60 Days In, and you thought, oh, I want to get involved. Like, what makes y'all want to do this type of work that you are doing?
Well well, I have a loved one on the inside, but law always attracted me due to my childhood. I have a parent that was incarcerated, and just a lot of injustice that was done because we're low poverty, and it just so happens that I ended up marrying somebody who was incarcerated, and I have other loved ones, family members that are in there, but the law always attracted me. I used to work for the Innocence Project at Texas Southern University, and actually, it's funny that you say about the criminal justice. I'm working on my third master's degree of criminal justice, but I do have one in law and I have another one in psychology. So I think they all go hand in hand.
And is your loved one watching this? Do you want to give them a shout out
Yeah,
over
shout out to you, honey. I love you.
He's watching. And then what about these ladies here? What made y'all want to get on this Texas Prisons Alliance bandwagon?
My husband's right now incarcerated. He's serving a 50-year sentence, non-ag. And I've always had a passion to help people. And this being able to find Texas Prison Alliance allowed me to meet a group of women and men that could understand me.
Yeah.
It's a struggle when you don't know what to do, who to reach out to. So they were very welcoming. I started out as a facilitator and moved my way up. They've just, Tatiana and Brandy both showed me the ropes. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And Brandy, what about you? What brings you here today?
So I have an uncle that's incarcerated. He's been gone for 17 years. And then I have a husband who's incarcerated as well. He's on a 25-year sentence and he has about 11 years left. I started this because of them, because I joined groups on Facebook and I seen everything people were going through. And I thought I needed to help because I love to help people go through struggles, or if they have questions, or just be there for them, period. So that's what made me start. And then I met Texas Prisons Alliance about a year ago and I just love it. So now I'm actually going back to school for psychology to dive in deeper into psychology and learn. So I've started as a facilitator and then I worked my way up to director, and now I am currently vice president of operations too. And I just love it. And we just want you to know that we're all here for y'all. And it is going to take time to get to y'all's letters because there's tons of them, but know that we are working on them.
That sounds like us. That's what we say. We're always working. We're always working on them. I mean, and we're going to get into letters, and for all the resources that you are going to hear about here today, I will tell you how to be able to get in contact with them and the best way to address those so they get to the right people. And so, is there anything else that y'all want to share or shout out here today?
I just want to give a shout out to my husband at Connolly and the Cristeros and all the reentry program they have over there.
Wow.
Just keep your head up.
And then what about you, Brandy? Who you got anybody to shout out?
Just to my husband and to my uncle. I love y'all both.
All right.
Can I shout out to the ladies' facilities?
Yeah,
Sorry.
come on with
I
the
have
ladies.
mad love for the ladies' facilities, Hobby Unit, Crane Unit, Sonia, Jennifer, Deborah, all my ladies that I speak with. I have mad love for them and all the ones who I'm looking forward to meeting very soon.
All right. Well, we're going to switch out to the next people that are here and be right back with y'all. All right. I'm excited. Texas Prisons Alliance. There's just so much going on with all of you and what your organization is doing. I look at your website and I look at all the volunteers and all the departments, and I think, man, what don't y'all do? And so y'all are like the kitchen sink with all the utensils and everything. I mean, it's just y'all are a fully loaded organization. Y'all don't just do one thing, and y'all have so many people that are a part of it. So I just wanted to be able to share with those incarcerated watching this, men and women nationwide, what is it that Texas Prisons Alliance does exactly? And then also, like, your mission statement, what all that y'all got going on, and how can maybe they on the inside be able to tap into that, and then their family members that are here on the outside as well. So if you'll take it away, Tatiana, what is Texas Prisons Alliance? What do y'all do?
Texas Prisons Alliance is basically an advocacy group. We don't lobby. We will go ahead and support, but we don't lobby. We want to focus more on educating and informing incarcerated individuals as well as the loved ones on the outside, how to maneuver in advocating for your loved one on the inside. And now newly, if you have nobody on the outside to advocate for you, we will advocate for you. There's a lot of incarcerated individuals that have medical issues that have put us on their HIPAA. And that's a new one. And because unfortunately they won't give us any information on them. And if you entrust us, that's strictly confidential. So we're now advocating for those who don't have anybody on the outside as well, with a great team. We have various departments. We have the family facilitator liaisons. We have 3 facilitator liaisons per region, and I specifically secluded the women. Again, I show mad love for the ladies. I do not want to forget about them, and they have their own department despite whatever region they're in. I have them grouped together. I have a facilitator liaison lead, and then a facilitator liaison, and then a general one who does overflow for the ladies' facilities as well. We have the Parents Compassion Support Project, which is a Facebook group for parents who have their kids who are incarcerated. There's a lot of moms, there's a lot of grandmas there. There's some dads in there. There's very few, though. We encourage all moms and dads, grandmas, grandpas to go ahead and join to support your incarcerated grandchild or child as well. We have the Resilient Young People of Texas, which caters to kids whose parents are incarcerated. It's like a big sister, big brother relationship. We supply resources, educational, even just a shoulder to cry on. There's programs out there for, from what I've noticed so far, there's programs that cater to mother-daughters who are incarcerated. There's a GEMS program there. There's resources there for scholarships, whatnot. A lot of grandparents join that group as well, even if the child is underage. Everybody's encouraged to join if they know somebody who has, a parent who's incarcerated and can help that child go the right direction. We also have the Veterans Division, which is Veterans Resources, Veterans Family Facilitator Liaisons. We have two representatives there. We have Steve Landers and we have Gloria Becker. Ms. Gloria is not ex-incarcerated, but she does have a son who is incarcerated, and she's phenomenal. She's helped many families fill out the form for the benefits that they are entitled to in that realm, and also helps advocate for them. We also have, oh my gosh, we have reentry mentorship and resources division. So these are just a few of the departments that we have that cater to incarcerated individuals. This is pretty much our goal, is to just to help as much as we can, to be honest with you. And maybe the ladies can go in a little further with different departments.
Well, we also have our Facebook groups that we are able to educate and inform the family members. And a lot of times they'll reach out to us there first, and then we'll, have them go do a request for assistance. But we do also have Facebook Lives that we do.
And then how can people on the outside or their loved ones find you on Facebook? What's the name of the Facebook group?
Well, it's Texas Prisons Alliance. We have our public group, and then we also have a private group. And then each prison unit has a Facebook group.
That's a good resource. I'm a member of that as well. I get all kinds of updates that I hear first from y'all before anywhere else. And so y'all definitely helped me out. And I could previously say that I did not have a loved one incarcerated, but my brother sitting in Dallas County Jail on parole violation, and he just signed for 5 years and he's catching chain any day. He's been waiting for a while. So I'm right there in that boat. Shout out to my brother Kyle. And he's in the same boat of, of course, I'm his brother and his family, but otherwise, he doesn't have anybody. And so definitely tap into those resources. And then, Brandy, what is it that you wanted to maybe shine a light on that Texas Prisons Alliance does?
We work closely with the families. The family facilitator liaisons work closely with the families. So if you do have family that can advocate for you, have them reach out to us, and then we can educate them and have them go through the process of helping you on the inside. We also work really closely with the wardens, the regional directors. So we try to stay informed with things that are going on inside the units. Like Garza East just opening, we were getting weekly recaps from the warden there. He's amazing. So we do try to stay informed with everyone. So we get updates all the time. You see our graphics on Facebook. So that's one way to stay informed. I mean, we're doing graphics all the time, late at night, early in the morning, just to keep everyone informed. But our family facilitator liaisons, that's our biggest department, and that's truly where it all started and the heart is with Texas Prisons Alliance, because we want to be there for the families and for the incarcerated. So just know that, again, I've said this on the last podcast, we're here for y'all in any way we can be. Just like if you're writing us a letter, be patient because we will get to it.
And y'all even have a prayer Facebook group as well, right?
We do. Compassion prayer request page. It shows TPA compassion prayer request, and if whoever needs a prayer request, they can go in there and request it, and they'll go ahead and do that. We are working on doing a live prayer chain on a weekly basis, which I find is a lot of the ladies find a lot of comfort in that, the power of prayer. So we do that as well. And I also wanted to specify that we do have now a bilingual facilitator liaison who specifically handles español. So los que hablan en español, no duden en llamar o escribir o tener alguien que escriba a nosotros para pedir ayuda y nosotros los vamos a ayudar lo más pronto posible con nuestro facilitator para ayudarlo en lo que se pueda.
So the former inmate in me thinks about just how many things that can happen in one day in prison that seem like injustices, like, hey, we didn't get cold water today, or they didn't run a shower today, or, it's been over a month since our wing has been to commissary, or they've got us racked up or lockdown for no reason. They wrote me a case for something I didn't do. They've got me in a job assignment, and because of medications that I take, I can't be in this type of job environment. So many things like that. And so I don't want y'all to get inundated with letters of just those, just because someone's having a bad day. An officer treated me unfairly today. They yelled at me for no reason. So what is it that justifies someone to reach out to Texas Prisons Alliance, send you a letter, or have their family reach out for y'all to then call, that prison or get involved? What are some of those, more serious things that y'all want to know about and that y'all can advocate for someone?
I know you said showers, but we do have issues with showers, and there is a policy where they're supposed to get showers 3 times a week. So that is one of our biggest in Region 4. We've been having a lot of issues with like showers not coming out, but right now Region 4 is going through there's like 6 or 7 units right now that are on annual lockdown, so they aren't coming out as often. So we do see that. But we really want to focus on like medical issues. I mean, anything is an issue when you're not getting treated right, right? But we don't want to hear like, I got yelled at today. What can y'all do to help me? Right?
Exactly. Like the lack of showers, like she said, we can totally do that. And there was somebody that
I
wrote,
didn't get fed today.
or I got fed at 11:30.
Yeah.
And I get it, but I mean, this is prison, and one thing that I've learned, not everything runs on a routine basis. Every day is different. The Wi-Fi can go out, the electricity can go out, and I mean, just anything like, inspection, they can go in and inspect abruptly, and they find that the kitchen is dirty and the trays are greasy because people have gotten sick, and now they're getting Johnnies for like 3 or 4 days because they're cleaning everything out. We can hear that, but there's honestly nothing that we can do because they're trying to rectify what they got in trouble for. Short of staff is a famous one. There's a few regions, Region 2, Region 4, I think it's Region 6 as well, that have short of staff. And yeah, there's nothing that we can do about that, but you do deserve a shower. So yes, we would hear from you. We would like to hear from you in regards to that. And also specify what section you live in. Because when they say, oh, well, none of us got fed or none of us got showers, what do you mean none of us? I mean, if your unit is 3,000 plus or 1,600 plus, that's a lot. That's a lot of us. So if you can narrow it down to, we're in this section, your wing, your pod, your tank, your dorm. There was one incarcerated individual that wrote, and his whole row had the same issue. So instead of writing us all letters, he just brought it all into one. And I so appreciate, I don't remember his name, but we really appreciate that because we nipped that in the bud and we took care of that immediately for them. So anything that helps. And in regards to volunteering, we can always use volunteers. But there's one thing that I did want to bring out to the table is that I think after the first podcast, we boomed and we got well known.
You're like the power of worthy people.
I appreciate you for that. And everybody wanted to volunteer. Everybody wanted to come on the volunteer train at Texas Prisons Alliance. And we're like, oh my God, it's not that hard to find somebody anymore. But when they found out that it was not so much of a limelight situation. It's more
It's
work.
hard work.
It's work. And everyone's like, well, what do you think this is? This is just a volunteer position. It's not even paid. Yeah, you're right. It is a volunteer position, but we take this serious. This is a huge, huge commitment that we have all made, and it's like a full-time job. And I get this with my loved one. You're putting a lot of time in this, and I get it, but he understands where my heart's at, which I really appreciate that about him. But it's a commitment. It's a commitment, and I expect nothing more than that. That
People
commitment.
think volunteer is like whenever I've got a
Whenever you
minute.
feel like
Yeah,
it. No,
whenever I
and
feel
I
like
get
it.
it. Life happens. You have
But
children.
commitment's the key word.
Exactly, and it's a commitment, and we totally work with you if you have kids. We get you, but when we need you, we need you, and that's all we ask, but a lot of them fell off. It was kind of like it costs more work to onboard them because it's a whole process with us. They have to
Mhm.
they have to sign volunteer agreements, NDAs, and then our
Trainings.
directors take time. Our directors take time to onboard, and once they're onboarded, it's education time because we don't let them out there just like that, especially if they have zero experience. There's a training that I created, and that was my blood, sweat, and tears in phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then you get to be like a mentor. And not a lot of them get to the mentor status. They get to maybe phase 3 and then they phase out. They
Mhm.
phase out. Oh, well, I want to focus more on my loved one. And well, all I have to say is that I do what I do and I focus on my loved one and I have a full-time job and I'm here.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody's different. Not everybody can be me.
So if they're
It's not easy to
if
be
you're
me.
watching this right now and you want your loved one to get involved with this, if you're in the inside and you're like, man, my wife, my mom, my grandma, sister, mother, brother, aunt, uncle, they would love something like this. It is a commitment to it. And if you're watching on the outside on YouTube and you're all for this and want to get involved, just know that before contacting. But if I asked you what is the biggest need in terms of people for volunteers that Texas Prisons Alliance has right now?
The need is for correspondence. We need more people to come in and read those letters and put those on request letters for assistance, the LFAs.
I gotta interrupt right now because that's my biggest need. So don't contact her, contact me. I need people to help me with these letters. No, I just messing with you. No, the struggle is
It
real.
really is. It really is. And I
Yeah.
mean, I don't have an write us. That's great. But we get continuous letters. Well, I wrote you a week ago. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and my heart breaks. But I want to say, dude, just wait, just chill. Hold on. We got you. Just hold off. Hold off. We'll get to you. Be patient. Be patient. And like I said, I mean, at least it's not 2 or 3 years, right?
But I sitting here listening, I mean, to do this, everybody involved, staying up all night, graphics and letters and
It's a lot.
traveling and everything that you do, y'all must have some big money grants or something, right?
Not yet. Not yet. This is out of my pocket. This is out of her pocket. It's out of her pocket.
We do it out of love.
We all paid for our own.
So I know your last episode, last time I looked, is somewhere around, 130 or 140,000 views. And can you imagine if everybody who viewed that sent $1
That
to
would be awesome.
Texas Prisons Alliance?
That wouldn't be
You'd be like,
Oh
okay,
my
that'd be
God.
just $1. I mean, and those that are watching here on the outside and worthy people, we're the same way. We don't have any grants. We're donor based and just living on a prayer from day to day through this thing. People say, how much you get paid doing all these prison services? They think TDCJ pays me or I got some type, nothing. We do all this out of love. We don't get paid anything, but people think I don't have big money as they go through the Starbucks drive-thru.
Right.
And it's just like I went to Starbucks yesterday. I got two coffees and it was like $12. And so it's just like, man, if everybody even watching this said, hey, I'm gonna do $1, I'm gonna do $5. I mean, that could really move the needle on some things. So for somebody watching, what is the best method for them to be able to like donate towards Texas Prisons Alliance?
Well, they can donate several ways. They can donate, have somebody donate on the outside. There's a link in our website. We have Venmo,
And what's y'all's website?
www.texasprisonsalliance.org. And just click on the word donate. We have PayPal, Venmo, we have Zelle. And if you want to donate out of your books, you can. Just send an what is it, an I-25 or an I-26?
I-25.
I-25 to the law library or Safe Prisons, and then wait for you to be called to get fingerprinted and have that check cut to Texas Prisons Alliance.
And we get checks for $5, you know.
Oh, I'll take it.
It matters
I'll
so
take
much
it.
to
Oh,
us.
for
is that
sure.
Somebody in prison, I mean, we tell people we don't do this for inmates to pay us, but when we get those checks for $5, it's just like you realize how much that means to them, you know. And so I just wanted to point that out, and hopefully y'all are able to get some help there.
Which I
But
appreciate that, because I do have a goal. My
Yeah.
goal, and I usually reach my goals, but my goal is to be able to put everybody on the payroll. To
Mm,
put everybody on the payroll, because if we were able to quit our full-time jobs to do what we love full-time,
And focus solely on this.
because this
We
is,
could
I
do a
mean,
lot more.
we've boomed already how we are, and we all have full-time jobs. Imagine if it was paid.
right.
That's all I have to say.
Man, it's
Mic drop.
just the beginning. It's just the beginning to what y'all are doing. But I wanted to also say this is that as far as we're going into prisons, we're doing services, we're doing events and church services, we're doing classes in the faith-based dorm. And so our plate is pretty full. And we do get those letters that are where someone is getting mistreated or something is happening, or their reentry and they want us to look for halfway houses in their area that they're going to. And we're just so limited as far as on people, on time, resources. And so, what I wanted to announce to our audience today is just to have a partnership, Worthy People with Texas Prisons Alliance, for when we receive those letters, that we could forward those letters to you. And when it comes to halfway houses, and y'all get them to the right reentry or veterans, because we get letters for everything y'all do. So for a partnership to be able to share those letters with y'all, to be able to get those responses, I think would be awesome. And I just wanted to announce that. What do y'all think about that?
It's exciting.
I think it's exciting, and I appreciate that. But again, bear with us.
Yeah.
Bear with us. Yes, bear with us. We will get to you guys.
It's a
If you're getting
process.
out next week, maybe don't write, you know, so let it be a few months before you get out. And so that's just the power of working together. And I think everyone that's tapped into this, their address is going to be in the description. I got so many letters from the first podcast that said, can you get this to Texas Prisons Alliance? And so while you're writing that letter, let's just put their address on it. Their P.O. box will be in this description. We'll put it on the screen right here as well. They've shared it, all these resources today. So I just want to thank y'all for coming on here, traveling to San Antonio, just to be able to show some love and give some resources to incarcerated population, their families that are watching, and tell someone to watch this. You know, they have so much. They've covered heat. I know we got the cold season coming up right now,
Mhm.
you know, and no heaters and busted out windows. And, you know, there's times I almost got frostbite and different things. So there's always a lot going on, and there's a never ending need. But like she said, just please be patient. Patient isn't a word for I ain't got time for you. Patience is
Exactly.
like, I will get to you, but it may not be right away. And so just thank y'all so much for coming on here today. I appreciate
Thank you
y'all's
for
time.
having
Thank you for
us
having us.
us again.
All right. Any last words that y'all have?
We have our online merch store.
Oh,
shirts. Come on.
There you go, Beth.
We have
We do.
tumblers. We have shirts.
We do.
So
And
that's
that's on
another
the
way they can.
website.
That's
yeah.
another way they can support us, because, well, part of that is to pay for the merchandise, and then a small portion of it comes to us. So
Right.
have your loved one on the outside. If they want a tumbler, if they want a T-shirt, a hoodie, now with the winter coming, we offer that. And also the coin purses, the clear, transparent one, and it has Texas Prisons Alliance on there as well.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank y'all for coming in today.
Thank you so
Y'all
much.
get
Thank
ready to
you.
get some mail.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. And we are back here with a new conversation in this chapter of this episode with Texas Prisons Alliance. And I am so happy we've got two new ladies at the table. And if y'all will just start off maybe telling us your name and what made you want to join getting involved into prison advocacy type work. Yeah.
My name is Sky. I joined because my dad's currently incarcerated, life without parole, at Styles Unit, and I just wanted to say, hey, Dad. I also have a cousin. I'll say hey to him too. Hey, cousin. So I wanted to join because of my dad, basically. I joined a bunch of Facebook groups as well. Took a chance and started a post. Yeah, just introducing myself to the group. Tatiana reached out, and it's been going since then.
Wow. So you got a family member, so
Mhm.
you can empathize and
Yes.
you know what the family members are going through. That's a common theme.
Mhm.
And then who do we have here?
My name is Jessica, and I actually got into prison advocacy because Hebrews 13:3 says, "Do not, do not leave your prison people behind. Act as if you go in with them." And I was in prison for 10 years, and
10
yeah,
years. Wow.
December will be 2 years I've been home. Tatiana hunted me down and she's like, please, please, please. So I'm actually the women's facilitators. I handle all women's facilities, regardless of the region that falls through. Yeah, and just I do women reentry. I came from my last stop on my bus was the Patrick O'Donnell unit. I was in a program called Strive. It's a reentry program that Miss Nelson, Melody Nelson, actually kind of helped start it from the ground up. If you've been in prison for multiple amount of years, people that don't know how to use a cell phone or how to even work a computer or any of that.
I needed that class when I got out.
I
They have a
didn't
men's
need
version
that.
now. It's called AIM, but
Oh,
Yeah.
that program saved my life. 10 years in prison, and I never thought I was going to be able to be hired or I would be a worthy person. And unfortunately, they just took us in from the ground up and they give you all kinds of skills and they help you with the reentry portion of it. You're not going to walk out of the prison doors without clothing. You're not going to you walk out with a plethora of information. And I cannot stress enough to my people that I left behind that make your time count. Make your time count.
Well, we love the ladies units. We just got back from hobby unit,
Thank you,
Lane
Warden England.
Murray. Yeah, Warden England, Chaplain Peter. That is so cool. 10 years you've been there. So that's definitely, I mean, that's why I do what I do here with being as a former inmate. So that's so cool. Common theme in all this conversation. My wife was a family member, right? Her parents were incarcerated. So she was a child of incarcerated parents. So that's kind of why we work so well. So I just love that. We're all kind of a big family here today. And so we want to get into the different programs that you do with Texas Prisons Alliance. And so, Sky, we'll start with you. What is it that you do?
I am over the Resilient Youth of Texas, and it was created to be a safe space for children and young people who have a parent that's incarcerated. We just want to be there to offer emotional support, mentorship, offer resources, and also to remove that stigma that is related to having an incarcerated parent. Because a lot of people think that, oh, your parent's incarcerated, you're probably going to follow in their footsteps. We want to let them know that they're not limited by their circumstances. They don't have to be a product of their environment. So we just want to be there for them. We have firsthand knowledge of what they're going through. We're there for them.
Well. And so somebody's watching this and they're wanting to get involved with that. How would they go about that?
We have a Facebook page.
Mhm.
It can be found through
It could be found through our main
our main
Facebook
page.
page, but it's TPA-Resilient Young People of Texas. I know there's a lot of grandmothers who have custody of their grandkids right now due to their, I don't know, either son or daughter that's incarcerated that are all ask if they can join, and they can definitely join, most definitely. And as Sky, piggybacking on what Sky said, it's that stigma that, oh, well, your parents incarcerated, more than likely that's going to happen. You have a choice. It's either go that way or kind of break that stigma and I'm very proud of her. I'm very proud of Sky. She's broken the stigma, and I know her dad is super proud of her right now, and he's going to school. You need a brag.
Okay.
She's going to school right now.
Yeah,
Tell them.
I'm currently going to school for criminal justice. Just seeing everything that's how flawed our justice system is. I want to go out there and help make a change.
And so if a loved one, they have a child, they reach out to y'all, what are kind of the next steps for getting involved with this program?
Depending on what they need,
Mhm.
right? So like there's more like the high school and up that have reached out so far. So there's scholarship programs from foundations that are specifically for kids who have parents who are incarcerated. So like how to fill out a FAFSA form. I mean, there's no guidance really in that, especially like I used to teach. And I taught at a very low poverty school, and they wouldn't teach them how to do a FAFSA. And I'm like, what? I mean, they wouldn't teach them how to do a resume. That was part of an English class, but that was like senior English, but that was kind of about it. And these are important small factors, but these are important things that they need to do in order to be successful in life. If we're not there to prepare them to do that, of course they're going to fall in that stigma then. Of
Mhm.
course they'll probably go and do what they're not supposed to do. So, yeah, definite resume building. I mean, there's resources. I mean, if they ask for it, whatever they want, we'll do our best to find it, even if we don't have that.
What if they're under the age of 18?
Depending on what it is. I mean, even just like a big brother, big sister situation. We also have AJ Clay, who's also has her father who's incarcerated, who assists that with her, with Sky. And kind of like, just to be like a big sister, because sometimes you need, somebody that's going to get you. And who better who has a parent that's incarcerated, you know what that feels like. You know what it is. And you get stigmatized, and you do. I mean, even I did, and it was kind of like, nobody wanted to get near me because my mom was incarcerated,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, my wife's like that. She was treated that way as well as a
yeah, and
child.
and it's crazy because even my own father said, I didn't think you would ever become anything.
Mm.
My own dad told me that, so I kind of proved him wrong, which is a great thing. So yeah, 3 master's
So,
degrees later, it's all right.
yeah, it doesn't have to define you,
Exactly.
and I mean,
Yeah.
this lady here that's sitting here next to me talking about, being in prison 10 years.
Yeah.
What exactly on the reentry side and resources are you, Texas Prisons Alliance, able to offer those that are going to be released? And a big question we get is when do they reach out? Because some are like, I'm getting out in 3 years, and some I'm getting out in 3 months. So,
When I looked at reentry for myself, I prepared myself from the moment I got in. I wanted to be ready when they were ready to let me out the door. So I don't think it's too early to ever start planning your reentry into back into the society. Just know when you start getting ready, you see parole for the first time, you want to know where you're going to be going. You need to have housing. You need to know what the market looks like. So a lot of the times we have people reach out and they're like, what housing do you offer in the Houston area? What housing do you have in Dallas? What do you have here? Or what does the job market look like here? You want to start prepping yourself for that because it's a big thing. A lot of people come out and they're not set up for that. And unfortunately, it leads them back to going back to the same places they came from and leading into the same things that got them in trouble to begin with. So you just want to make sure that if you're looking at moving to a different area, you have no idea, reach out to us. Let us research that for you. Let tell you what kind of halfway houses are there, what the economy looks like in that area, what kind of jobs we're seeing posted. Let us be able to provide that information for you because unless you're in one of the programs, you're not going to have access to that.
so all the time we get letters because of the ministry, worthy people being here, people saying, "Hey, I want to come get involved, but I don't know any halfway houses. I don't know where to go." And so, for example, you get a letter, someone saying, "Hey, I'm getting out. I want to go to San Antonio." What does your research look like? And when you respond back to them, what would you normally send them?
We base it off what they're asking for. Like if they're asking for something with religious background, we try to research that for them. We try to make it everybody has their own needs and everybody has their own way of coming in and out of prison. So we just try to cater that to the person that's asking for the individual information. So if you're asking me for a Christian based halfway house that may have a program or something, we're definitely going to seek that stuff out in the area that you're asking for.
Perfect. That sounds good. And this is all Texas based. So if somebody from Florida writes looking for a halfway house, is that how would y'all handle something like that?
Well, there's somebody out of state that actually we just got a letter yesterday where they were out of state, but they're paroling here in Texas. So that we can help them. In regards to the out of state, we haven't received a letter like that. I think it would maybe be a matter of researching for them. And, I'm sure we could do that, but that's kind of about it in regards to that. Unfortunately, right now, we're catering to Texas, but from what I'm seeing, the need is everywhere. It's everywhere. So I have one of my VPs that sees us all throughout the United States, but I don't know about that right now. That's a whole
Yeah.
other conversation later. But yeah, I guess we can, research something for them in their state, but that's kind of about it there.
I just want to give kudos to you ladies here, coming from families of incarcerated, doing time, 10 years in prison, and now giving back and going against those stigmatisms, those labels. And so many that are watching, they want to do this. When they get out, they want to do advocacy work. They want to change things. And many have good intentions, but when they get out, they don't realize how crazy the world is and their families, and they get sucked back into everything. And then they're like, I was going to do this or that whenever I got out. And for those in reentry that are getting out, that want to do something, they want to be someone like you, of saying, hey, I was incarcerated and now I'm doing this. If they are wanting to get involved with Texas Prisons Alliance, how would they go about that? And is there space? Is there room for them?
Oh, we can always make room. I don't think we have enough
Yeah.
enough volunteers, to be honest with you. There's always room for that, most definitely. And I mean, we're in this business. Why wouldn't we cater to previous? I mean, this Jessica Pillow is a testimony there, and Renegade coming on in. He's also a living testimony as to, you can advocate and you can be successful after incarceration. You don't have to go back to what you did before in order to go back in there, unfortunately. She's our walking billboard, so is Mr. Renegade coming on in.
It's not always easy, but like I said, make your time count. My first job when I got out, I started as a maintenance technician. I took that from the trades I had learned inside. I took Wyndham classes, got my HVAC license, got my refrigerant license. I was making $85,000 my first year out of prison.
Wow.
The position I hold now is I'm an HVAC coordinator for project and installation. And I couldn't do that without the skills that I obtained while I was inside the gates. Just make your time count. There's plenty of opportunity inside the gates. And like women, to me, men are so spoken about. There's so many men's prisons. There's not a whole lot of advocacy just for women's prisons. And
Mhm.
that's why I wanted to step into this role. They don't get as many classes. They don't have as much. And we're pushing for that. Like we want them to have that. Like when I was there, we couldn't drive the backhoe. The guys were like, oh no, this is the man's job. And we're like, okay, thanks. Now Hilltop has actually put in place a construction class where they teach them how to drive the heavy equipment. These are things that we want to continue to push because women need these skills when they come out just as much as the men do.
And even education wise for the Pell Grant, the men qualify for the Pell Grant, but the women don't.
The women,
Why?
they don't have a college that has accepted
And
it
their
yet.
response to us is, oh, we're working on that. So it's been 2.5 years since they've been working on that. And I honestly don't see the difference because I would qualify out here in the free world and I'm a woman. So I don't, I j- it just, I'm trying to see the sense in that.
Y'all are working on that, and it takes people like y'all to be able to bring attention, awareness, and change things. And so, well, thank y'all for the conversation today. We're gonna switch gears here.
Before we go, I
Yeah.
just want to say, like everybody I left behind, you just keep hanging in there and y'all keep doing what you're doing, and your time's gonna come. And shout out to my bestie and everyone at Crane Unit because that's where I did most of my time at. So
All right. Well, thank y'all. And we're gonna get ready for our next conversation as Texas Prisons Alliance continues. And everybody, we're back. We got some more resources for you. We're going to be talking about veterans and more reentry resources. So I'm excited to introduce with Texas Prisons Alliance. We've got a guy to the table. Guy. Well, man, so who are you running around with all these ladies?
Oh, yeah, I'm outnumbered, that's for sure.
Lucky dog.
My name's Steve Landers, and the reason I got involved is I'm a medically retired veteran. I served almost a decade and a half in the military, made some poor decisions when I got out, and ended up doing 2 years, well, almost 3 years on a 7. And I saw a lot of my brothers in arms being stuck in kind of a similar situation. And when I got out, there's kind of a stigma. If you served in the military and then went to prison, a lot of your brothers they look down on that.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of lonely when you get out. It's kind of a rough situation to be in. And I just wanted to get involved in a way to show my brothers and sisters in arms that Yeah, sometimes we make some mistakes. Sometimes we have to serve time, but that doesn't define us. Just like we used to say, our military service doesn't define us, our character does. So I wanted to get involved to kind of show them that it's okay. Basketball only goes high in the sky if you bounce it on the ground. So if you hit the ground, the harder you hit, the higher you're going to bounce. So I'm trying to show some of my brothers and sisters in arms that we can recover from this.
Man, that's so good. And then who do we have here?
Hi, Cody. I am Frankie Ellsworth, and I decided to reach out when I saw an ad posted on the TPA Facebook page to do volunteer work. And it's in the reentry division, which I feel like for my life and for my husband's life, that it's extremely important that people coming back into society have the resources they need to succeed. And that's just a big calling on my heart for these people who are looking to come back home.
That's so good. I can think of even myself talking about all this reentry when I got out, but a lot of times people look at life now, but when I got out, I had no idea where I was going to go. I just knew I couldn't go back to my, drug infested family. And I got dropped off in San Antonio, never been here with nothing but the clothes on my back. And I had no family. I had no one to reach out to for reentry resources to, look for halfway houses or mentorship or helping. And so you guys and ladies being here today is near and dear to my heart because you speak to me and even a lot of the struggles that I had. And I know as far as many people that have been in the military, veterans, and what I've seen a lot is their identity was in the military. And once they've lost that status and wear that, I don't know, whatever you want to call that label of messing up, they don't know who they are now. They don't know how to get back into civilian world and what this new role looks like. And so I know that that's very much needed as well. So if you could just speak a little bit about the veteran resources, and if someone contacts this Texas Prison Alliance and like Tatiana said, they put on the envelope veterans, what type of things do y'all offer and what kind of response could they expect to receive from you?
Okay, the veterans division here is going to be a little bit different than the rest of TPA because a lot of the things that are going to be available in Texas, they're actually going to be available nationwide. Now, I won't off the top of my head have all that information for where those resources are, but it's really simple to research. I can easily find that. Some of the things that I try to assist with as the liaison and reentry and the mentor is there's different programs and dorms and pods available that are veterans-based dorms, similar to like
Mhm.
the faith-based dorms. TDCJ is also working with the Veterans Administration to create different mentorship programs. There's all sorts of things coming down the pipeline right now that are going to be available. They're still in development right now, but there's a big push in TDCJ right now for that. Now, there's a lot of things people don't realize when they're incarcerated, when they're receiving, like, say, for example, VA disability compensation. People don't know this, but your families, they can actually, there's a way to go about it, and your families can receive these monetary benefits. So if your family depended upon your income a lot before you got incarcerated, veterans know this. If, say, you're 90% disabled, when you get incarcerated, it drops down to a 10% rating. That's what you get paid at, which is a huge chunk. There's a way that your family can actually receive those benefits. There's so many different things available for veterans that people just don't realize are there. And then once you get ready to, be released from prison, there's just a whole plethora of resources available. There's different organizations, like I know the one in Lubbock is called VetStar. And when you sign up to work with VetStar, they assign you a case manager for housing, for employment, for education, for medical, and for justice. And they help you maintain everything you need to stay successful. But a lot of these programs, people don't realize are out there. And I've personally used several of them. I've used the one in Amarillo, I've used the one in Lubbock. And it's just a matter of knowing where to go and who to talk to and understanding what you do qualify for before, during, and after incarceration. Because there's so much out there that people just don't realize.
So people can write a letter to contact you if they're a veteran in those resources before they get out or even while they're in prison as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I would personally say if you're about a year to 6 months from walking out the gates, that'd be the best time. If you've still got like 3, 4 years to go, there's not really much unless you're looking to see how to fix your benefits so your family can get them. Then absolutely reach out immediately. But for the reentry type stuff, I would say be about a year to 6 months before you're released because otherwise it's just going to kind of bog down everything. because my main focus for people that are in is helping their families get the benefits that they deserve.
And after a veteran has been released, are they able to receive back their
Oh,
disability?
absolutely, absolutely. For example, I'm 90% disabled service connected from my injuries in Afghanistan. After 61 days of being incarcerated, it drops down to that 10%. The monetary value drops down to 10%. I still maintained my 90% disability. So it usually takes about 60 to 90 days for your benefits to kick back in. You just got to file everything with the Department of Veterans Administration. They file the paperwork and you get paid again. You get everything fixed.
Okay. So that's a huge lifeline. If you're watching this as a veteran, you'll want to be sure and be able to get their address and be able to address them. Is there anything else that you would like to say to those? Anybody, any shout outs?
First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to all the guys I served with out in Lindsay. Y'all were great people. I met some really incredible men. And to my brothers and sisters in arms, don't worry about the stigma. I know some of us will judge each other over that stuff, but there's more of us out here than you think. And we always said, never leave a man behind. So don't worry about it. There's people out here that got you.
And having you here today, I just was at the hobby unit and I was talking with a lady who's lost everything and her whole identity behind being in the military. She was in the military, I think, over 25 years. And she used to work on like, putting like, I guess, explosive devices and all this stuff together. And she said she can no longer do that. And she just is afraid to get out because she doesn't know what life looks like not being, a part of the military. She got in drug addiction, things like that. We all make mistakes. So how's it been since you've been released? I know a lot of people that are veterans are watching, like, how is it to get out being formally incarcerated now as a veteran?
One of the things you can do to kind of, because I was in the same boat, I kind of lost my sense of identity when I medically retired, and then even worse when I was incarcerated. And one of the things that helped me is not a lot of people know this, but you can actually still volunteer at the VA hospitals. They will run a background check, but even with my background, I still qualified. So I get to go up and work with the VA, volunteer with the Justice Department, with transportation, with all sorts of stuff. There's ways you can still be involved in the veteran community, and you don't have to disclose to everybody that you have a history. You can be selective about that, and you'll be accepted. There's a lot of veterans out there that have been through our same situation.
That's so good. That's so good. Well, I want to switch gears here to reentry, and I think that's what you were going to talk a little bit about here. Exactly what you do with Texas Prisons Alliance.
So, with the reentry resources, it's very important that as individuals, whether you're a family member that's waiting for a loved one to come home, or if you're an incarcerated person that's looking for resources, we want to be able to provide accurate resources of TDCJ facilities that do accept parolees, not just people on probation, because there's a difference. So there's research that we'll do to help you find locations for housing. I can't stress the importance of, if you're an individual and you're looking to come home and you know that home is not a safe place, it is very important for you to make that decision to look for a halfway house or a group home where you know there are not going to be alcohol or drugs or criminal activity that's going to cause you to relapse or
Mm.
end up back in prison. And sometimes going home is not always a safe place. So we want to provide those resources. And if a family member knows, hey, I've got an addiction issue that if my loved one comes home, I don't want him to relapse. We want to be able to provide those resources too for loved ones to be able to have access to drug rehabilitation centers, also counseling or whatever. So I want to be able to work with those individuals to find those resources. If it means I have to spend the day on the phone looking for something, then I want to be able to do that. I believe if my husband had had those resources available when he got out of prison a couple of years ago, he wouldn't be back in prison on a parole violation.
Wow, that we've received so many letters about that, but specifically for people that have a hard time, there's some even that write that have made parole, but they have no halfway house to go to. So the type of letters that we get that are challenging, and I don't know how y'all would address this, is, some people because they have a GPS monitor. So there's a curfew monitor and then there's a GPS monitor. And sometimes with a GPS, at first they can have no movement at all. They only get 1 day that they have to fill out. A schedule has to get approved, and not all parole places or halfway houses accept that. Another one that we receive letters for is for sex offenders that cannot find, halfway houses, and they've written us trying to write. So how do y'all, when y'all look, if they share with you specifically about that, is that what y'all specifically try to look for based on their need?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are resources available online all over the place, but a lot of times it's intimidating to go and you don't know where to look. Even when I'm doing research, I can go down a list that's provided by TDCJ and they say they're approved facilities, but when you call, they may not be. So I want to be able to assist and advocate those facilities to make sure that, yes, this is a safe place for you to go, whether you have a monitor, whether you're a particular type of offender. So that's the research that we will spend doing to help them.
So if somebody writes a letter, they're watching this, they as soon as they get through watching this today, they write y'all a letter about reentry, needing a place to go. Y'all get the letter and you start working on it before you respond, right?
Absolutely.
So you get the letter, you start working on it, and then how long typically does it take to do that research? Like, a day, a week? Because I know with us, people are like, "Well, it's been a month. I hadn't heard nothing. They're not going to respond to me." But I think it's important that people watching remember that they start going to work and then respond to you. And so versus using that stamp to say, "Got your letter. We're starting." So you start, and then they can look for a response to you that has an answer at the same time. Is that correct?
Let me go ahead and back a little bit in regards to the process. Once the letter's received, we have our prisoner support correspondence administrators that go ahead and read the letter. We will put it on a letter for assistance. So if you have an advocate on the outside, it's a request for assistance, which is an RFA. If you don't have anybody and you're writing a letter, it's a letter for assistance, which we call an LFA. So our letter correspondence administrators will go ahead and read the letter. They'll transfer everything onto an LFA and we'll see exactly what's being needed. In the meantime, we have created a little database and it's growing more and more and more. Thanks to Fifi, I completely appreciate that. The database. So depending on whatever they need, hopefully we'll have it. If not, we can give some type of recommendation to Fifi, and then Fifi's a go-getter. You ain't got to tell her twice, but she'll go ahead and pull up that research and she'll do the best that she can to her ability. Her and Mary will do their best to find whatever information or whatever resources they need, housing, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's so good. Is there anything just in closing y'all want to leave with?
I did want to say something real quick that I did forget to mention. A lot of veterans get concerned that because of their discharge, they might not qualify for certain things, and that's only partially true. You could have an honorable discharge, you're going to qualify for more. Even if you have a dishonorable discharge, there's still benefits out there that are available to you. So if you've got a bad discharge, don't worry. There's still something that's out there on the table for you, and I will help you get it.
Sounds good. Well, thank y'all so much for sharing those resources with us here today. And we're back here continuing the conversation, Texas Prisons Alliance. And who do we have that has joined us at the roundtable today?
I am Christina, the Assistant Director of the Prisoner Correspondence.
So you're the lady that's in charge if a letter doesn't get responded to. This, y'all are seeing her right here. No.
It's all my fault.
No.
So we started this department or this area after our first podcast with y'all, and it just grew. So we now have a prisoner support correspondence division. And what that insists of is we go through the letters. We have one director, her name is Sharia Johnson, and then we also have our assistant director, Christina Ledbetter. What they do is go through the letter. We have people that read the letters, and then once they are done being read, then our directors go through them, and then we advocate for them. And so it has been a process. Me and Bethany oversee that department, so it's just been a little hectic, but we are working through it. It's been amazing. We enjoy it. So yeah, we are here.
Some of the stories and
Hard.
it's difficult. It's a difficult one. It's so you have to be I mean, we just can't. It just can't be any volunteer. You have to have kind of a thick skin. But the heart that we have for Miss Sharia and Christina is just, she's been amazing through the whole trial and error process, because this department, to be honest with you, it was bigger than us. To be honest with you, I mean, we never thought that we would have so many letters.
I'm right there with y'all.
Yeah, we just didn't think, and we're like, "Oh my god." So, I mean, it was to the point in the beginning I had stepped in, but it was kinda like, man, I had to tend to the other side as well. So then we had Bethany and Brandy that helped, also Christina, another VP of ours. I'm not gonna say her last name because I always massacre it up, so I forgive me, Christina V, you know I love you. But, yeah, I mean, it's been a trial and error situation, and we're getting there, and like Brandy said, I mean, we haven't forgotten about you. We've gotten your first and your second and your third letter. There's just, oh, so much that we can do, and I just want everybody to be mindful that it is volunteer-based, so bear with us. Be patient. We got your letters. It's just it takes some time for us to get through, so we're working through this process, and we think we got it down packed with this week. So we're preparing for the new wave to come on in. You know,
The new-
I got my army ready to go, so we're ready to go. We're ready to tackle this.
Before we respond to y'all, we actually work your letters. So we reach out to the departments that y'all are asking about before we respond to y'all's letters. So that does take time too. So you have to give us time to work through the process for y'all. So that way we have an answer for you when we respond to your letter.
And I have a question for the new lady at the table here. What makes you get involved here with Texas Prisons Alliance?
My husband is currently incarcerated, so I've always been his advocate, but it blew my mind that if he didn't have me, you know what I'm saying, who would do that, and the fact that there's so many people that don't have that.
And do you want to give him a shout out?
Yes, hi, honey. He's at Telford.
Telford
Yeah.
unit. I think right now would be a good time to be able to address the people that are watching. I know we're going to get more into the resources. So far, we've really done a lot of introductions, but do y'all want to just go ahead, since we're on letters, share your P.O. box and then what to maybe write on that, and maybe some of the letters that you're having to sort through now, how we can prioritize certain situations?
Definitely, definitely. And thank you for reminding us about that. To make the process a lot quicker, we do ask, well, first of all, the P.O. Box is P.O. Box 1563. That's again P.O. Box 1563, Pearland, Texas,
And how do you
77588.
spell Pearland?
PEAR, as in the fruit, land, LAND, all one word, Texas, 77588. And but in order to prioritize your letter and make things run smoothly, if you need reentry mentorship on the outside of the envelope, put reentry mentorship. If you want reentry resources, just put reentry resources, because that'll go to two different departments. In regards to advocating, if somebody wants advocating in regards to medical, and to us that takes precedence because it's a medical issue, meaning an emergency situation, please put medical. Now, if they fear of their life, and obviously I don't want you to put fear of your life, because, the mailroom will go hard on us. They're going to, investigate or see some, I don't know. I just don't want any issues with you. I don't want you ladies or men to have any issues. So if you guys put FOL, something to let us know that that's what it is. Is there anything else, any type of advocacy that I can think of right now?
And I know we're going to be going over veteran, and what are some other
Correct.
departments in Texas prisons?
The Resilient Young People of Texas, we have an awesome rep here, Sky Moreno, who's here. The Veterans Division, who's also one of the Veterans Facilitator Liaisons, as well as reentry mentorship as well. And he also supplies the reentry resources as well.
So if they put that on the envelope,
Yes,
if it's
reentry
for those.
veterans. There you go. That was it. Veterans. If it's a vet situation, if you're a veteran incarcerated, please put veterans and veterans advocacy, or veterans reentry, or veterans resources. That will help us so much. Just don't put urgent, and have it not be urgent, because to be honest with you, and I'm going to be straightforward, if you're going to put urgent and we open the letter and it's not urgent, we're going to put you in the back of the line, because I don't think that's fair to everybody else. And we've received letters that say, hey, send me an e-message. We can't do that. Mind you, we are based on donations, and the donations are very minimal right now. So the donations that we have, we pretty much kind of pay out of pocket for these 55-cent stamps. So to say, hey, and I know we have to write you guys first, ladies and gentlemen. So if we say, yeah, we got your letter, what was it that you needed? To me, that's a waste of 55 cents. And I'm being a little chintzy because of that. Just tell us what you need, and then once we're done advocating for you, we will go ahead and respond in the e-message. Also, we've received letters where they've wanted us to pass a message to somebody. I'm sorry, we don't do that. Like I said, we're based on volunteers. And
Can you help me get a pen pal?
can you help me get a pen pal? Or, hey, I have this long lost girlfriend. Her name is this, and this is the last phone number and the address. Can you look her up? Unfortunately, we can't research. We don't have the resources right now or the manpower to. We would love to do that, because that's how I met my loved one. On accident. It was a whole accidental, and it's a whole other story. But I mean, just researching things for you guys, we would love to do that. But unfortunately, that is manpower, and then that's paper, and it's printing, and like I said, our donations are super, super minimal, like to a zero right now. I mean, they will want the help, and we're totally willing to give the help, but I mean, donations would be awesome as well, to be honest with you. In order to get us to keep going and bring in more people, that would help a lot. But if you can keep that to a minimal, we have seen a lot that want to be a part of Texas Prisons Alliance that are incarcerated, and we are in talks of potentially having incarcerated ambassadors for each unit. I think it may save a lot of time if they can go to 1 or 2 reps in certain units, depending on the size of the unit. Like, I know Beto's like 3,000 plus, Cofield as well, but then we have Ramsey, which is half the size of that. So it would depend if we would have 1 or 2, but we're in talks of that. Right now, we're just trying to get to these letters and get them answered as soon as they can. Just thank goodness we're not the Innocence Project, because when I was with the Innocence Project, man, those letters were 3 years behind. 3 to 4 years behind.
Wow.
We're not a legal services, so we can't help you legally, because I've seen a lot of letters that
Yes.
say legal, and we aren't lawyers, so we can't give any legal advice at all.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we don't have an attorney as a volunteer. I'm trying. So if there's an attorney out there that, wants to do some pro bono, that would be awesome. But unfortunately, I mean, we can't give any legal advice at all whatsoever. We received many, many out of state assistance, and we would love to cater to you guys. We really would. And it just breaks our hearts to not be able to, but we can. Some of you, we've sent letters out with resources, but I know.